When, when, God, will you enlighten people to the truth? When will companies realize that it's impossible to appease the unappeasable? That the eternal hunger and the fake outrage culture of social justice warriors and the LGBT community can never be satisfied? Please help people understand, finally, that they are like a plague of locusts flying from topic to topic, whipping up hysteria and devouring the sanity and oftentimes the finances and the good moral standing of their victims. And once there is nothing more that they can consume, they move on because they heard somewhere in the distance that Skittles is trying to support LGBTs by turning their rainbow-colored packaging white, which just so happens to be a symbol of white supremacy. So without further ado, I present to you reason number 3,000 at least of why companies must never try to appease or apologize to social justice warriors and the LGBT lobby. This story starts last autumn when the flash fashion giant H&M announced their new campaign, and here it is. H&M celebrates queer, transgender, non-conforming ladies and women of color in new ad. Oh yeah, awesome. So H&M is going to get in on that extremely lucrative LGBT market because everyone knows that lesbians and social justice warriors and especially Antifa have a massive and yet untapped purchasing power because most of them are totally not in debt because of wasting years of their lives and money on liberal arts college degrees and blue hair dye and junk food and weed. To promote their new campaign, H&M even made this video featuring strong, empowered women doing all sorts of strong things like manspreading on the subway, being stern corporate bosses, and they even got their star empowered woman to participate. Who else but Bruce Jenner? What could go wrong, right? Well, the spring collection hit, and I distinctly remember a few months ago walking into H&M because, you know, to be honest, sometimes I do find a piece of clothing that I really like from that chain. And I started browsing the racks, and 99% of the clothes were these oversized, formless sweaters and t-shirts with big slogans, big text on them saying things like, "We matter," or "feminist," or "the world is female." I swear they were using warped Hillary Clinton quotes. But anyway, the clothes, they were quite unfeminine and the slogans were silly and they had a subtle feminist agenda to them. It was nothing that extreme though. Well, lo and behold, who are the ones who end up getting psychotically offended at it? It's this lady. Yes, a lesbian activist who claims that H&M is appropriating the word femme as a t-shirt slogan, which is only the LGBT communities to use. She goes on to say that the word femme has a history and meaning specific to LGBTQ+ people. It is ours to use. It isn't yours to sell to straight people. And she also says, I use the term femme to describe myself, and if I saw someone wearing one of these t-shirts, I would presume they were gay. The people I know who own this are mainly lesbians. Personally, I would say this is appropriation. She also said, it's not necessarily diminishing the suffering of the LGBT community by printing this term on a t-shirt, but it's serving it up out of context. Femme is a word that means something to LGBT people, and some customers who see that t-shirt aren't always going to be aware of this. Well, yeah, I mean, before this article, I had no idea that the word femme had a special connection to lesbians, but apparently it's a term that is used to define a feminine lesbian. Yeah, so why is that triggering exactly? I mean, if non-lesbians use this word, it's not like femme was ever used as an insult like the N-word. It was, at least not to my knowledge. Okay, I know that her problem is that evil straight people are wearing t-shirts with a word that has magical significance to her because that's her gender or her sexual identity. But how can she, with a straight face, as an adult, pick out a word and say it belongs to her? And from now on, she gets to police which people are allowed to use it and which people aren't. I mean, what does she want? To have H&M put an LGBT council by every cash register in every one of their stores and on their online store, and they get to judge which clothes are allowed to be purchased by which people? Or maybe they'll give out pamphlets to every single customer who buys like a feminist slogan t-shirt, you know, educating them on the sufferings of LGBT people. I also understand that this lady's triggered because H&M is pandering to LGBT people in order to make a profit, but that's how business works. I mean, they see a demand and they try to create products to fit that demand. And isn't that what the LGBT lobby has been screaming about for decades now? To get more exposure and representation everywhere in all aspects of life and business. They want to be promoted, they want to be present. And when some top fashion chains finally decide to make cringy feminist clothes just for them, they're like, but straight people might buy them too. And they're ignorant of our constant suffering and oppression in society. Oh, I hope that wasn't too cringy to listen to, but it probably was, so at least I did a good impression. Anyway, these people have never grown up. They literally are in a childlike mental state, and the most frustrating thing about it is that their hissy fits are fake. They are doing it for attention. They are mentally ill people who are entirely endlessly selfish, just like this lady who freaked out recently after she saw a Confederate flag in a store, and she started ranting at random people there who in turn called her a bitch and a Hillary supporter.
Hi, so you don't care about having hate flags on your wall? Huh?
How's that hate flag?
A Confederate flag is a symbol of slavery and lynching and raping of black people. It's a hate sin.
I'm Mexican. What are you
Good.
talking about?
I'm telling you that's a
I'm
hate
Mexican.
symbol.
It's
Yes, it is. What does that got to do with anything?
history.
I know my history. A Confederate flag.
Black people the one did the Confederate flag, not white people, black people.
What are you talking about? That's a symbol of slavery. That's like having a swastika on your wall.
Bye, bitch. Get your kids out of here.
Look at this liberal.
Yeah, look at this little whiny bitch here. Bye. Hillary supporter.
Confederate flags hanging in their store, and I brought it up to them, and they started pulling me around and calling me a bitch. And saying there. And then I was driving in the car, and they came out. There was 3 of them, and they were following me into the parking lot. Howdy, please again.
But you know, in all seriousness, this ridiculous situation has inspired me to further the acceptance of my own organization's long-term goals in a similar fashion. You see, for the past 3 years, I have been the president of a super important civil rights organization known as the Duck Lovers Club. That's right, I like ducks. They are my favorite animal, and my life is dedicated to spreading the message of loving ducks and raising awareness of the need to revere and cherish and protect them in residential areas, in lakes and rivers and residential parks around the world. Just look at how graceful these creatures are, and how much they have to give to society, and how unfairly we oppress them and not let their unique stories be heard. So, my position is that anyone who uses the term duck publicly or writes it down somewhere and does not strictly adhere to our values and is not a member of the Duck Lovers Club, moreover does not acknowledge that ducks have been victims of systemic human oppression for centuries, well, they will be severely punished by our team of online activists who will write nasty articles all over the internet and make GoFundMe accounts that you can donate to make us feel better. And that's about it. So if you would like to join the super important Duck Lovers Club, either as an enthusiast or an activist, please like this video. Also, don't forget to check out altright.com, which is linked in the description, and it's a pretty good website which sympathizes with the plight of the Duck Lovers Club for their own good.